So, sir, of all the books you have worked upon, which one do you like the most?
Yeah, it's totally got to be Swamp Thing because well, it's just a combination of a reason. I discovered the American comics through Bernie Wrightson, so that was the first guy I discovered. Oh, because I was growing up as a French Canadian, I was mostly looking at Belgium and French comics.
Okay.
And so when I discovered the American comic, it was like comics from Bernie Wrightson. It was like, oh man, it's so dramatic, the light.
The original Len Wein Bernie Wrightson run from the 70s?
Well, I think the first thing that I saw was like a circus freak story that he did.
Yeah.
And then I became a fan there.
Yeah, Anton Arkin and the Freaks. The early Swamp Things.
Yeah. And then I discovered the early Swamp Things.
Yeah.
And then that brought me into the American comics. And I went into biology as an entomologist. And I kind of not left comic, but I was not following the stuff.
Oh, you have a background in biology.
Yeah. And
this must have been like...
But then I discovered the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing. So that brought me back into comics, thinking, oh, comics can actually go crazy. I mean, they can go, it's just not good and bad people fighting like a wrestling match. It can be like whatever you want. And so that brought me back. And then I became a comic book artist years after.
Okay.
And when they offered me Swamp Thing, for me it was a gateway to my origin. You know, my love of Swamp Thing as a fan of Bernie Wrightson, but also as a fan of Alan Moore.
Okay.
And as a entomologist and a biologist, you know, it was just this perfect storm of, oh, this is really where I belong. And at that time, I had done like Batman and Superman and X-Men and all that. But that was the first time I really felt like, oh, this is home. This is truly where I belong. I
remember your X-Men work, sir. I like that one too. But Swamp Thing, it seemed like you have a very, it seems like you were born to draw Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
The chemistry with Scott Snyder was, it was just insane.
Yeah, I love Scott. We're good friends. And maybe one day we'll do some creature run together again. I'm a big fan of almost all the books we have made so far. Oh, thanks, man. Let's do things. Musk So are these things easy to get here? I mean, through Amazon, I guess?
Yes, kind of. Not very easy, but yeah. If it has an ISBN and if it's in print, yeah. I really liked your run on Batman Incorporated.
Yeah.
So they came out. I immediately got this one first because I couldn't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, well, for Batman Inc., I mean, every time I'm getting a book, I'm trying to find what angle in it is for me. So
okay.
With Swamp Thing, it was obviously my relation to comic, my past, my background in biology. That was what Swamp Thing stood for. So
right.
I started to do homage to the creators from the past. And there's a lot of restaurants which are like the Bissett restaurant or whatever. So there's like a bit.
Okay.
I'll drop their names. And for Batman Inc., I wanted to explore other culture.
Okay.
Because Batman is always in Gotham, but in these books he goes somewhere else.
Okay.
And I remember growing up when the X-Men would go to Paris, whatever, it would be like a fake-looking Paris because these guys had no time to do research. It's just like,
of course.
But I wanted to have like people from Tokyo. The few people that read Batman Inc. look at this book and say, "Oh, this is respectful." All the Japanese is accurate. This is the kind of street corner that feels like, oh, Batman was at the corner and this and that, and being excited that Batman was the guest in their culture. And I did that with Tokyo, but I did that in Argentina, Buenos Aires. And in Buenos I did like a broken bottle of a very local beer, like a small brewery that nobody knows,
Okay.
but the people from Buenos Aires picked up on it. And when I went there for a show, they were like crazy about the fact that I actually did the effort of trying to respect them and trying to get some detail that are theirs, an inside joke for them to look at and have fun with. And and at every bar, I was just getting a lot of that beer. And people just
Sir, when you pour your effort into it, yeah, like people can see it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I really love the way you. I'm still reading your work on Wonder Woman. And,
Yep.
And yeah.
I mean, that's not an easy book. That thing is a complex. Grant, as he was doing that, he was also in a transition because now he's non-binary.
Right.
But the book is a bit about that. But some people were. I love the Perez
Right.
Wonder Woman, right? But there is really no point of doing Perez again because it's done. It's great.
Yeah.
And Greg Rucka did a great stuff by updating like the regular mythology. But
Right.
Grant being Grant and crazy, it was like, well, what about the actual real origin, the stuff from the 40s that nobody touched anymore because it's just bondage and like craziness all the time, right?
Yeah.
But everybody's scared of that material because it's so wild, especially in today's politics, and you don't want to look like, oh, brain bondage now, really? But Grant being Grant, it's like, yeah, we go full pin in there, we go, and it is interesting and strange. So why not?
Grant's one of your frequent collaborators. I've seen.
Yeah. Right, just gonna drop a little bit of color.
I haven't even opened these yet. I was just halfway through it. And like, sir, originally you were going to come to Bangalore.
Yeah.
I was going to come to Bangalore to visit. But luckily you ended up being here.
Yeah. When that fell through, I was like, I need to go anyway. Find a way.
I was anxiously looking through your Facebook feed for announcements about you coming. Like, I was just hoping you would, turn up. Because this book is also very, 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 very special to me.
Yeah. I mean, the idea was that the mission of Wonder Woman is to come to men's world and
Right.
teach them the way, a new pact between man and woman, basically, right? A new equilibrium between the genders. But she always fell in a way because that quest has been unfulfilled since the 40s. Like, it's an ongoing book. It's like if Batman wanted to get Gotham rid of crime, but he never managed to get rid of crime. The crime is always there. There's always a new villain. But in our story, Wonder Woman actually wins. She creates a new world order. That was her mission from the 40s. She's being sent from the island to the man's world to teach the way of the Amazon. In our book, she does win the day, change the world, which is like a finality that you can't get in a monthly book because, but then, after that.
I think the Earth One label gave a lot of freedom to do
Yeah.
stuff which you couldn't do with the character as it is.
But because America is so polarized nowadays, with like what is moral, what is woke, what is the into that frame of mind. This book, where it's just an abstraction. It's like Wonder Woman actually made destroy patriarchy in the
Agreed.
book, and because that was her mission, and people were like, oh no, not everyone, some right winger were like, oh no, you guys are like a bunch of words destroying patriarchy and things like that. It's like, well, yeah. What she does actually is that she's oh, you'll read it. You'll
I
see
just
how.
finished the first volume.
Yeah, you'll see how she managed to do it. But
You know what struck me the most about origin stories? What strikes me the most, rather,
Yeah.
about origin stories is that so many times they have been done and done, but still, Grant found some way
Yeah.
to work in something that's never been done before.
yeah,
He took the book to places it's never been before. I mean,
yeah, never been before, and at the same time, harking back to the 40s.
yeah, it's
Where-
always
where
been,
it's been-
it's always been
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but never touched upon. Sir, your work is voluminous, but I have totally loved your covers.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Sir, can you make a Hellboy for a friend?
So another sketch.
One more, sir. Hellboy. Sir, if you were to select, I know it's difficult, but if you were to select your favorite collaborator, whom would that be? I mean, given that you have
Yeah.
worked with Scott Snyder, Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, I mean,
Yeah, that's tough. I did a bit of Wolverine with Jason Aaron.
that insane in the brain.
Yeah, that stuff, and I really liked it. I mean, Jason is so good, and it gave me the chance of doing Wolverine on a very you're right, like a Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's subdued and crying Wolverine. That stuff you never draw, you know.
Yeah, at the end of the story, I believe he still doesn't know whether it was a dream or
Yeah, yeah.